Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Steve Suarez, owner of RJ Grant Plumbing. And we've got a great show for you today. Coming up on today's show, our topics for discussion will be specialization. And I bet you're wondering what that means. We're going to get into that later on in the show. And we will also go into detail about the question of the week. But we also, last week, we were talking about a job that happened in Colorado, which we're going to discuss. But I have to introduce somebody that is with me in studio. She is the best, awesomest realtor in the world, and that is gooder English that you'll ever hear anybody say. I got Audrey with Home Source Realty. How are you doing, Audrey?
Hi, I'm doing just great. Thanks for having me in-house today.
Oh, this is awesome. I'm glad that you're here. You're a friend of the show. You call in a lot, and you have been tremendously helpful to me, my family, as far as selling homes and advice. And also just I've done work for you, and you've referred work to me, which I'm grateful. You have no idea. It helps small businesses like mine. We refer stuff back and forth.
Small businesses have to help each other. Absolutely.
Do you know anything about, or have you heard this about the Colorado contractor?
Yes, I have. That was just an unbelievable story. But I think that when you first hear it, you go, oh, my God, what was he even thinking? But again, as you and I were talking about, what makes somebody finally just completely lose it? And like you said, I mean, I think we all know some situation in our life where you would just go, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
But since we live in a supposedly civil society, you just can't do that kind of thing.
Well, to give everyone a backstory on this, there was a contractor in Colorado who was upset with the fact that he did not get the balance paid on a job that he did. And so he proceeded to go in and repossess his work by using a sledgehammer and smashing up the tile and the work that he did. And he was let in by a neighbor, and I guess the neighbor thought he was picking up tools or going to maybe go through and give a quality control check, but it just went the complete opposite. So we have talked to a couple of people that are friends of the show, Matt Pear, who owns The Floor for You, and he also is owner of Perfection Home Improvement. And he knows the gentleman. His name is Jason McDaniel, who was part of a group of contractors who went in and helped this homeowner repair what this contractor had done free of charge.
That was awfully nice.
Oh, yeah. They actually had an interview with him on I saw it on social media, and it was on the West Coast, or actually not in the West Coast, but in Colorado. Mm-hmm. So, and she was saying that it gained so much attention that she was hearing from people from all over the country wanting to help, and got support from as far away as Europe. So it was,
wow.
I mean, it's a small world. I mean, it really is. And it's safe to say that, well, obviously this was handled completely wrong from the start. And my guess is that there was more to this than this actually, being about a tile. Normal.
Well, what led up to that?
Right.
I mean, this obviously had to be something where maybe the homeowner wasn't happy.
Right.
They had a few words. It wasn't settled. Everybody went home, stewed about it, came back, had more words. She wasn't going to pay. He wasn't happy.
Right.
And then who knows what really finally shoved him? Was it, did he just have a really bad day on the way there that somebody cut him off in traffic or was he thinking for 2 days, I'm getting back at her house and
right.
I'm going to fix her clock. I mean,
well,
what happened?
That doesn't, normal people don't think that way.
Normal people don't. Well, I think people might think that way, but thinking and acting on things are two way, way different issues.
Well, I think and I always look when certain things like this happen, and one of the reasons about doing the show and one of the reasons we started doing the show was to try and eliminate it. You get to a certain point and you can almost see, like when somebody has a problem, somebody has an issue, somebody has a bad experience. There's a point where you can look and find where that went or where they started to go sideways.
I agree. And it usually is some kind of breakdown in communication. You didn't say
exactly
what you didn't explain it well enough.
Right.
The person was afraid to ask questions.
Right.
It came out not the way you maybe intended.
Right.
So it all goes back to the fact that questions. I try in my business to explain things as many ways as people need to understand what the process is going to be. And I know you do in your business too, because nobody knows your business. That's why they hire us.
Right.
So you have to be able to be very, very explicit, and things need to be in writing so that it doesn't end up in a situation where tempers escalate, feelings escalate, and all of a sudden you've got a problem.
Well, also, I think one of the problems is you assume. Don't assume. When people hire someone, they hire a professional. They're hiring you because you know, and that's why that kind of delves into that topic we're going to have later in the show, which is specialization. The homeowner a lot of times don't know enough to know what they don't know. Right. I know that sounds kind of stupid, but if you really think about it, and that's why they have the professional, so they can say, "Hey, what do I do here?" And that's where you are there to guide. And one thing I found with certain sales things is they give you information just enough. And then what they say to you is when things go sideways, they say, well, you didn't ask. Hold on a second. I don't know enough to know. I don't know what to ask. Mm-hmm. That's why I have you. You're supposed to tell me, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what, when I do this and I buy this product, you know what my expectations are. Because I've told you, I want to get this kitchen done. I want to have this countertop in. I want it to look really good. I want it to look phenomenal. I want this functioning because I'm going to have people come over and look at it. I want to have all this stuff look good and because I'm having a holiday over.
Right.
And people over for the holidays. Right. And what happens? You get done. Well, yeah, it doesn't include hooking up this. It doesn't include hooking up that. Okay, what I asked you.
Now people are disappointed and they feel cheated.
That's where you're mad. You're upset about that because, well, I thought you were going to do this for me. Now I've got to get somebody else at the last minute, right before I'm going to have people over.
And who do I get now? What do I do?
Exactly. I thought I had somebody to do it. So, then
you incur an extra expense, and now the person is a little mad. They're like, "Who's going to make that up? And why didn't you tell me?"
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I'm like, okay, you have to be able to give that information. So either you're going to include it, or you're going to specifically put on your contract that says this is not going to be, this is not going to be. And then what happens is when they know, they could say, contract A says this, mm-hmm. Contract B doesn't include this. I can go with contract A because it's going to include everything that I need out the door, and I'm done. Right. And that's the difference between the pricing.
Put it in writing.
Right. It's a little vague spot. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and then we will come back, and we will discuss a little bit more of this because this is kind of getting my blood boiling. Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair Show. I am your host, Steve Suarez, and with the awesomest realtor in the world, joining me is Audrey Johnson with Home Source Realty. And joining us on the show is Jason McDaniel from Stoneman Construction out of Oregon. You there, Jason?
I'm here. How you doing, boss?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us on the show. We have been talking about this for the last couple weeks, kind of touching on this because this is something that some contractors that this is just way out there even for some of the stuff I've seen. So you want to kind of, if you can fill us in on what you saw and what you've encountered while being out there and taking on that. And to introduce you to the audience, Jason with Stoneman Construction is one of the contractors we were just talking about that took over the project and helped this homeowner out after it was destroyed. She helped him out for free. So to get her back going because, well, we don't want these people being a reflection of contractors. That's not what we do as contractors. So what I was going to say, what did you find out there? What was the actual story behind this?
Yeah, the story, the narrative obviously is that she didn't want to pay, and that's just clearly not true. Early on when I saw it, I mean, I didn't even know anything about this. I mean, I saw the video, and my first reaction, obviously, is that this is unbelievable. This guy came into this woman's house with a sledgehammer. It's amazing to me that there's even a conversation after that. I mean, the conversation should just end there. But in the world we live in, that's just not the case. So, I went. We don't need to talk so much about how I got there. I got home, had the feeling I got to reach out to Amber, so I found her somehow. And, offered to come out and I'm a certified tile installer. I'm an evaluator for the Ceramic Tile Education Foundation. So I really want to try to get certified labor on the map. So I went out, finally got to the point where she trusted me. We got these Jeremy Johnson and Matt Capo, the local contractors. And for the last 3 weeks, I kind of set everything up, got general contractor in place, got all the inspections lined up. And, Day one, we came in, we had to do some TV stuff, and then we did the demo. And there's really no words for what I found. It was all, they framed the little corner bench out of Tri-4s. It was covered in green board, no waterproofing. They might have put a thin layer of a single component waterproofer on the sheetrock, but if you know anything about single component waterproofers, they require a mill thickness gauge to stand up to a manufacturer's warranty, and a lot of people don't know that. So, no, this thing had been put on with a sponge or something. The curb was wrapped in green sheetrock, which, people think that green board is waterproof. It's not. It's mold and mildew resistant, and that's not saying much. So, the whole thing was terrible. There were visible chips. I mean, quarter-inch chips on all of the tile. There was no trim. There was no decorative bullnose or jolly Schluter jolly trim or anything like that. The pan just kind of came out. They didn't have any blocking in the walls. When you do a pan liner, you need to have like 6-inch blocking in the walls to bond the pan liner to. They had taken the pan liner and they actually stapled it to the footing. So any water would have gone straight through there, and it would have gone into the basement. It would have done.
Wow!
All the plumbing was wrong. They, when you take out a tub, the tub has an 1.5 inch drain pipe,
right?
And for UPC code, it needs to be a 2-inch drain pipe.
Okay.
They didn't fix any of that.
So they just extended the tub drain.
Yeah, they extended the tub drain. It's kind of a funky setup. They basically mutilated a joist, and the joists here are not what I'm used to seeing. I'm used to seeing a little bit deeper joist bay. The construction in these houses is really strange. There was some weird stuff going on. The back wall, they put a window in, and the back wall framing had a bunch of termite damage on it. And the wood was all corroded. So we had Steve Sells with Sells, Construction here in Colorado Springs. He came in and we completely ripped out the back wall and reframed the entire thing. Got a 12 by 36 window put in place so that, the window they had was super low. I mean, you couldn't have even taken a shower without the neighbors seeing you. So, we're on day 6 or day 7 now. The bathroom is complete. We're 100% done with
Excellent.
The tile portion. We're doing tune-ups today. I'm moving on, an event at the tile shop here in Denver tomorrow, and it's a beautiful space. I can forward some pictures and
Oh, absolutely. Now, I want to ask you
more questions about what you want to know. But
well, first off, I mean, this is like insane to begin with. I mean, just the whole how we've got here is just crazy. But one of these things that I look at when something bad happens is I always say sometimes they do you a favor. And in this case, it looks like this situation happening, even though it was as bad as it was, this guy did her a favor, because had she paid him, this all would have disintegrated, a year or two?
I wouldn't even get here. In fact, in one of the Facebook groups, I had said something. People were being really negative and saying that it's alarming the amount of people that think that this is okay. It not just in tile, in construction in general.
I see it in plumbing, man.
Part of what I've been trying to do with Global Tile Posse and you know, is to change the way we are viewed as contractors when we come into somebody's home.
Thank you.
You know, we are already viewed as the dirty contractor coming into the house. So for me, it's about showing up polished, man. And what I said in this group was, it would have ruined the back quarter of that house after a couple showers, and I meant it. I mean, this thing would have leaked immediately, and and she probably wouldn't have really known to, you know, from the jump. It would have taken a little while for, maybe not. With what I saw, it might have been dripping into the room downstairs immediately. But
then the mold damage?
A couple months. It would have. I'm telling you, brother. And I'm not saying this to be dramatic. I'm saying this to be real.
No.
It would have destroyed that area of the house. It would have been black mold. She could have gotten really sick.
Yep.
Waterproofing and making these showers 100% waterproof, floor to ceiling, is no joke. And it's not something to be taken lightly when you're on a job. It's a very serious thing. You can damage somebody's home, and you can mess with somebody's physical health if you don't do a good job.
Well, I'm a plumber by trade, and Matt is a very good friend of mine. Matt is a friend of the show, and I don't touch things that I can't warranty or that are beyond what we do. We do the plumbing. We'll set a prefab shower base, but when it comes to these showers being built, there are professionals that do what they do, like you, that do what you do to make sure it's all done per manufacturer's specs so the homeowner can get the proper warranty. Just like you, and people have responded. I saw the responses that people got or made to this story, and the responses were a blame game or, well, that's what she gets for not paying. And it's like, hold on, let's stop right there. There is a right and wrong way to handle things. And if somebody doesn't pay you, that's civil. When you go into their house and you start smashing, that becomes criminal because you just committed vandalism. And that's not right. And that's not how professionals do things. That's not how professionals do business.
I'd like to say, not to interrupt you, I got to say this for whoever listens to this, understand something. Amber reached out to 8 contractors in this area. 3 of them called her back. She got quotes from 3 contractors. Mm-hmm. All the quotes were in the same price range, okay? That is not her fault.
No.
She's a woman that has never she's her first house. She's never remodeled anything in her life. She doesn't know, and I don't know anything about what she does for a living. She works at a mental care facility. You think I know what it costs to live in a mental care? No, I don't. So I think that there's a lot of assumptions being made here. One other thing to point out, the job wasn't finished. In their, I don't know if you quote-unquote contract, they had a glass panel to be installed. It never got installed. So when they asked her for payment 10 hours after the job was done, Amber said, where's the glass panel? And they said, it's its way. She asked for a receipt. They said, you know what? We just won't do the glass panel. And then they came to her house with a sledgehammer. Yeah. So that's the story here. That's what really happened. If anybody, it's pretty crazy what people, the assumptions that people make, and it's a shame.
Well, you know what they say on Facebook, negative or positive posts, they get 25 comments and it disappears. Negative posts, you're going to clock 300 plus. And everyone's got something to say about that. And this post or this incident is no exception. So I just think it's great that, that's one of the reasons why I do this show, is to educate people in getting the right people, ask the right questions, and do what they can do to do their proper research to know and get the right people to know what to look for. Know when things don't seem right. And you can stop it. You are in control of your home, 100%. You control everything that goes on in your house. And as long as you know that you have that power, that's the main thing. And you doing what you did, and I know it's like you're saying, it's not about you. And no, it's not. But what it is, I know exactly how you feel, but it's all about people coming together and showing who the true professionals are in these trades. And that's how I view it, and I'm glad that you and the other contractors there were able to step in and help out.
No, and I wanted to actually thank Jason for doing what he did, because now many, many women, as said, first home, don't know anything, didn't have a handy dad, there's not somebody around, we depend on what people tell us. So to have something like that happen to you, and it happens more often than not, either a contractor. I'm a woman who's owned properties for many years. I'm single, and thank God I had a dad who taught me a lot of things. Like I know the basics about some things and know what's right and wrong. But the person who will come in and just take advantage of somebody or is very disrespectful to a woman who is getting a job done, treating you like you're stupid.
Yeah.
So the fact that Jason did all this and helped her and made her life better again, I mean, that just speaks volumes. So thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, and thank you guys. Listen, I really appreciate that there's been so many people reaching out and allowing us to talk, to change, hashtag change the narrative. That's what we're doing for Amber.
Nice.
Amber is an incredible person. And I want to give a shout out to all of the Global Tile Posse members that sent us money, Venmo money for food. So many people reached out and gave us money for lunches. Thank you so much for that. And I want to say one thing too. Thank you to all of the vendors that Ardex and Ruby and IQ and the Tile Shop. So many people, Rapid Recess, Quick Train. There are so many people came to the aid of Amber. It absolutely has nothing to do with me. It has to do with us as a construction family, not just tile, but construction in general.
Exactly.
And I also want to say, if you are a customer that's looking for a tile contractor, look at the CTEF website. Ceramic Tile Education Foundation has a website. You can look for a certified tile installer in your area.
Nice.
That does not mean that the person coming into your house is super qualified. It's a minimum standard. But at least as a customer, whoever comes into your house has taken the necessary steps to educate themselves. So those are the things that, and thank you to the National Tile Contractors Association as well. They helped me with some of my expenses out here, so I appreciate that. It's been a fun time, and we really appreciate all of the positive that you guys bring into this.
Well, like you were saying about about where to check to find tile people, I say the same thing about licensing for plumbers. It's not going to be the be-all, end-all, but it gives you a starting point to check the level of competence or a minimum level of competence of what you're going to get coming through the door, and then you're sifting through. You're sifting through at that point to find the best of the best at that point. So, and I think that's not a bad thing. You
got to look at the internet. Look at research waterproofing. Understand that showers are supposed to be waterproof, floor to ceiling. Curbless showers in Oregon, I believe it's 3 to 4 feet beyond the shower. You are supposed to be waterproof. And Amber's entire bathroom is waterproof to the door.
Nice.
But there are a lot of things you can research, and to your credit, this show is a lot of what does our trades, good, is that it gets the information out there. I can always be reached, I'm in Global Tile Posse. I'm on Instagram. People can reach out to me if they have questions. I'm always here to help.
Absolutely. You know what? You got to send me an invite to that because you guys accept plumbers into that tile group.
You know what? We accept you, brother. And I would love to have a plumber in there. And just not to take up time, but something that's very important. Steve Sells, the contractor on the job. We're going to start doing a thing during the week where I do a live video, because I do a lot of live videos with Steve, and we're going to start talking about inspections, construction and contract, construction inspections, not just plumbing, but we had we had a framing inspection for the window.
Right.
So if you and I could talk a little bit, maybe you could become our resident plumber that helps us with some of the questions we have if we run into a plumbing problem. I would like Global Tile Posse to become a very, a positive place where people can go when they're learning to learn everything about construction, not just tile, so that we don't have things like this happen. I also want to say I offered an NTCA membership to the couple that did initial work to try to get them some training, and, we'll see if they accept that. And we also want to, listen, it's not a good thing what they did. But we also understand what it's like to be desperate. I don't know if you guys have ever been desperate in your life, but I have.
I started out in a $900 van with a propane heater because the heat didn't work. Yeah, I've been desperate.
Desperation brings out acts you would not normally do in your everyday life. And if somebody's if somebody's out there trying to make ends meet, and that is not an excuse for what these people did, but let's also have some compassion.
Right. Well, certain things, certain situations, they bring out the best in humans, and they also bring out the worst. So, but I would be honored to assist you in any way possible. The one thing that we have is with plumbing is it does vary from municipality and location per location, but the cool thing is I am involved with a lot of plumbers throughout the country, so I can get whatever information that we need. And I've gotten plumbing inspectors that are friends to the show that we can also, a lot of resources and brains we could pick to get the information that you need.
I love it, brother. Thank you very much. I'm sure we'll talk going forward. I know you got a show to do, so I really, really appreciate the time. Sorry about last week, and we'll be in touch.
No worries, man. I wrote a strongly worded letter to Mr. Zuckerberg about Facebook being down in crayon. So that usually gets people's attention when you write it in crayon.
I love it. Good job, brother.
So thank you, sir, for being on the show. I appreciate it, man. And, I look forward to talking to you again in the future.
All right. See ya.
All right. Thank you to Jason McDaniel. I appreciate him being on the show. And what we're going to do is we'll take a quick break, and then we're going to get back and discuss some things with Audrey. Welcome back to the Prepare to Repair show. I am your host, Steve Suarez, and joining me is Audrey Johnson with Home Source Realty. And want to also thank, again, Jason McDaniel with Stoneman Construction for jumping on. Yes.
Great job. Sounds like a great guy.
See, that's what contractors are supposed to do. That's what people envision when they hire a contractor. They envision that contractor coming in, and when I get done, I'm in awe. I'm happy with it. And this here is excellent, and that's what you're looking for. Oftentimes, it doesn't always work that way.
True.
So, and that brings me to this week's question of the week, and that question is: would you feel comfortable putting a 50% deposit down on a job that is scheduled 2 months out, or scheduled out 2 months or longer?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And give me your reason why you wouldn't, and I'm going to give you some responses we got on social media, and I will tell you that a lot of people agree with you. And so what is your opinion on why? Okay.
Well, first of all, let's just say I don't know this contractor.
Okay.
Not like I know and love you. Okay. You're asking me for...
But even if I asked you that, you would kind of be like, okay, well, why? You'd still ask. I mean, even I don't care how long you've known me, you still are going to ask me why, because...
What's changed since the last time we got together?
Exactly.
Okay.
Why?
So my thing was, if I don't know you, was, are you new? Can you not float your inventory?
Okay.
Do you know what you're doing? Are you a stable business? Are you going to be there in 2 months? And if you're not, what happens to my 50%?
That's when you start getting into you start getting into all sorts of questions.
I think that's anytime you do that, it's just sets my alarm bells off. I'm suspicious of why you need. I mean, there's always a deposit on something granted. Maybe like a deposit, a small deposit to secure a date, which I think is normal in most businesses, because you're in this time when you can't get anybody to do anything.
Right.
No contractor wants to be left high and dry either. I understand both sides of that. But I think 50% is excessive, especially since we don't know what the future holds. As you and I had talked about, weather in Chicago. I mean, something that might be an outdoor job, in October. And if you're coming 1, 2, 3 months later, who knows what it's going to be like around here. That pushes you off. I can't get my money back. My job's not done, and I'm not happy right now.
Right. Well, I did have some responses, especially from one of our flooring partners that are friends of the show.
Yeah.
They said, well, we charge a deposit down to pay for the flooring because we're purchasing it and we're shipping it in. So they are doing it. So I could see where you're...
But you're buying the product.
You're buying the tangible product.
Right.
Okay. Now, this right here is not really so much for materials as much as, okay, this is for the job.
That's different.
And I have responses on here. One was, hell no. Nope. I'll pass. No, thank you. No way, not a chance. No way. But one of our friends of the show, his name is Joe Urban. He says, if it's a reputable company, yes. With the current supply chain being all jacked up, they need to secure material for a project, and they aren't going to run the risk of getting it ordered, and then 3 weeks out, someone cancels because they found some fly-by-night guys to do that. Now, that is the possibility if you're, again, buying materials.
Yes.
But my situation, or the way I look at it is, and a lot of people, when they say contractors, they think contractors have a one-sided view. And like Jason was talking about, many of them have this attitude because they've had that customer that was kind of bad to them. But also homeowners have had contractors that were bad to them. Me personally, as a contractor, I would never do that to a homeowner. Okay, my job is to make sure they're happy with the product so I don't have this problem. I leave them no choice that they're going to be happy with it. And if they're not happy with it, I need to find out why. That's the problem. It's not the money that's usually the problem. It's why it's the result of it.
Exactly.
Let me find out what it is. And
that's it.
Solve that problem, and you don't have the other problem. Now, getting back to this, like as far as that, is when you book a job out, okay, and you sign for that job. Once you sign for a job, if it's a big money job, you have a 3-day right to cancel. If I put a deposit down and I sign the contract for that, and that job doesn't happen for 2 months, I don't have any rights anymore. And it's, if, say, weather permitting, that job doesn't happen in December, or it goes into, say, January, February, March, then I don't have the opportunity, like we were talking, the opportunity to pull my money and go to somebody else.
You have no recourse.
And also, too, and it's not an indictment of any contractor or any company out there, but as a homeowner, my thought process would be, once I put that money down, and now they're doing the job 2 months later, that $2,500 is, I don't know how their bookkeeping is, but now they're doing that job there. That $2,500 is already spent, whatever, it's off to the side. So now that job that I have is not say a $5,000 job. You're just using 50% for example. That $5,000 job is that I put $2,500 in December or January, whatever it is, 2 months out, whatever the case may be, when we schedule, is now $2,500. What happens if somebody comes in with a big job that is more money?
And you get pushed to the side.
You get pushed to the side because now that job right there, there's another lucrative one that came in. And I won't, if that's what your policy is, that's fine. But what's scary about that policy is if people are doing that and that's the norm, that opens the door for the unscrupulous ones to come in and say, everybody's doing it, so now I'm going to do it. So now all they have to do is go around and collect deposits.
And then you could be gone. Your phone could be disconnected. And there's no way to reach them.
Exactly. And if you started this because of the way the economy is, okay, that's fine. The economy is going to change. So if you are shuffling and just eliminating, homeowners or potential customers because of this policy that you have now, you will need them later on.
That's right.
When things change.
Always do. That old thing, always treat people the way you want to be treated.
Exactly, and be careful who you step on the way up, because you will see them on the way down.
I totally agree. But also people, I'm surprised at how many homeowners that I even run across in my business who never bothered to get anything in writing.
Yeah.
They give you $10,000 to fix the roof, and where's your receipt? What are the terms?
Right.
I didn't get one. What do you mean you didn't get one? So, all this should be spelled out. Maybe some, and I understand, but okay, say it falls apart. Can all that be returned to the store if we disagree? Do I get my money back then? Do I have to eat this purchase? Is it non-returnable?
Absolutely.
Everything should be in writing.
Oh, absolutely.
So people are, most people I find are very trusting. I would say 95% of the world wants to trust or will trust you. And unfortunately, that minority that takes advantage of people, gives all kinds of service people a bad rap.
Right. It's not every contractor. It's the few.
It's the very, very few.
Right.
But they're out there.
Right. And and they
know how to work it.
Exactly. And so I would say, and I think we're probably in agreement, if you're going to buy or pay for services with a company, I would go with a credit card. I would go with a credit card, get everything in writing, and make sure when you sign, you're signing, if you're going to authorize your work to do whatever, this is our plan. This is what we schedule to do. Authorize what you're scheduling to do and have a way out that says if it doesn't get done at this certain point in time, then I get a refund. Or there's something here. There's some random. In other words, it's
there's an
equal.
end point.
Right. It holds everybody accountable, not just you. And because if you pay by credit card and you don't get your goods and services,
you can put the hold on it.
You can dispute it. So therefore, you're much safer than if you give someone a check, because then you're done.
And I also think that if anybody is pressuring you at that very moment to sign this or give them the money right then and there, and they won't back off, then you walk away from that deal, because nobody should be pressured into signing or agreeing to anything and handing over money at that very moment.
Absolutely. And you don't, that's, again, when things go wrong, you can almost see that there's a point where it's going wrong. And usually you have that gut feeling.
Go with your gut.
Go with your gut. And, touching on also something that Jason brought in when he was talking about, and it kind of segues into the other topic that we have for today is, and we're going to get to that real quick, is because we're running out of time. It was great to have Jason on with all that stuff.
He was wonderful.
So, he was talking about tile and talking about, having different people and having different trades and having different, all these specifics that go into doing doing tile, doing showers and everything.
People don't realize everything that's involved in all the different specialties.
Exactly.
To make something happen.
And that's what I mean by specializing. When you specialize in something, there's people that I do, like with plumbing. There's commercial plumbers that just do, they do buildings. They do, and they'll do high rise. And there's also plumbers that build residential homes, and they do new construction. That's all they do. And there's other ones that do industrial work. There's plumbers that do service work like we do. We do service, residential and commercial service, and we do some new construction, but most of our stuff is that. And so we have a niche that we do. Not everybody can do what we do, and we can't, our guys aren't going to go in and pipe a high rise. We're just not going to do that. But we can if we had to, and those guys can do our stuff. I mean, but it's just, you want to get somebody that knows what they're doing, so it's going to flow seamless. Just like with real estate, what exactly do you specialize in?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I love my little niche, which is condos, townhomes, single-family homes, small 2 to 4 flat units. That's my favorite thing because I like working with families, individuals.
Correct.
I like them finding that home. So I like to know everything about that. Do I want to go out and sell you a 24 flat building? I'm going to refer that because I don't know all the ins and outs of what's going to make that deal work best for you.
Right. And if there's commercial spaces or things like that, you could, but it's not something.
Right. If I'm not going to be able to help the customer and I might hurt them, it's time to pass on that and give it to somebody who knows what they're doing.
Exactly. And one of the things we had, and what made me bring up that topic, is we had a company that did restoration. And they took it a little bit further. I thought when a loss happens or there's a tragedy that happens and they come in and they have to fix fire and water damage, they would be like any other restoration company. You call them up, they come in, clean it up, and get you back whole and fix everything up.
Mm-hmm.
They clean it up, clear up the water damage, whatever, fire damage, whatever it is. But apparently there is a company that goes a step further, and they take care of more personal stuff, like photographs, to try and save something. Like say you have a wedding dress, say you have, tapestries or rugs that you have, or even some electronic equipment that they try to save. They have a little niche that they do. They specialize in that. I didn't know that there was a company that did that.
That is really interesting. That's a valuable service.
Exactly. So I mean, it's when you start to look for people, you want to ask further questions. Even with carpenters. You've got framing carpenters, and then or rough carpenters, and then you've got your carpenters that build cabinetry. They do your trim, and they do all that beautiful, intricate work. So,
well, it's like I found out something from one of my clients last year. They moved in and they wanted to redo the stairs going to their basement. I had no idea there were carpenters in this area who just do stairs.
Really?
Yes. It's fascinating because it is a very tough thing to do, to change the elevation or even to duplicate to stairs and riser height and width and everything that conforms to regulations and is a comfortable step to walk on. It was fascinating.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's by doing this show, I mean, I'm 33 shows in. I'm learning a lot of intricate and a lot of information about what people do and what exactly their specialties are. And it's like, no, I do this, and this. And, and I look at it as far as plumbers, because I see them on social media. You'll see guys that are people that say, well, I'm a pipe fitter, I can handle this. Well, pipe fitters aren't all, you got to know what you're getting. Some pipe fitters have plumber's licenses, but they're not, I don't know if they have the ability or they have the knowledge to come in and diagnose what kind of issues you have going on in your house. Because there's some people that have worked in high rises all their lives. They've never touched a faucet. It's not to say that they can't, but they have never done it. And you've got some plumbers that have never touched any kind of high rise plumbing, and they're scratching their head. And they're looking at it like, okay, well, and people are saying, why aren't you a plumber? You should know. No. Just because you're a plumber doesn't mean you know all that. Just like if you're an electrician, doesn't mean that you specialize in this or you know that. It's really important when you're searching for people to find the right people. Like you said, At some point, I got to refer this because I can actually hurt this client more than I can help them.
Right. And your first responsibility should be to your client.
Absolutely. And some people, what they do is they try to take all the work they can.
That never works. That never ends well for anybody.
No, and they wind up botching it. And that's not what you want to do. You want to put the client first, and if you don't know what you're doing with something, then don't do it.
Then don't do it. You want a happy client because they give you referrals, and that's how you build a successful business with happy clients who come back to you for years on end then.
Right. I've had people ask us, do we do this, do certain things? It's like, no, we don't. And we stick to what we do best, and that's plumbing and sewer. So, Audrey, I want to thank you for being on the show. How do people get in touch with you?
Thanks, Steve. I love spending time with you. Thank you for the chance. You can reach me at either Audrey Johnson at Realtor.com or my phone is 708-846-6494. Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. And if you're looking for a licensed, reputable plumbing company that can help you with all your plumbing and sewer needs, reach out to us at area code 708-743-7426 or at rjgrandplumbing.com. And I want to thank everybody for listening. Feel free to reach out to us with any information or comments at our new Prepare to Repair website. From there, you can access previous shows and reach out to guests. Till next week, we'll see you next week.